In today's tutorial, we'll create a small post-it note from scratch, attached with a piece of washi tape, and we'll give the illusion that it's lifting up off the screen with a warp shadow. We'll add in some fall foliage and a background texture to complete our piece. The color palette for this project is free as always. Just hit the link in the video description and you can download and install it. We're using all free brushes for this project and I've popped a link to them in the video description as well. I'm going to start by creating a brand new canvas. I've listed my specs on screen. And let's begin. Okay, I've got my brand new canvas, and the first thing I'm going to do is set my background color. So come to your layers, tap on background color, and it's going to be the very first one on the top row. The next thing we're going to do is draw out our post-it notes. So on the very first layer, I'm going to grab the white color, and we're using my free signature brush. So just freehand out a square, and you can hold it until it snaps if you'd like to have a perfect square. I like having that more organic hand-drawn feel, so I'm going to leave mine a little wonkier. So drag the color in to fill it up, and let's just center this on the canvas. If you have uniform and snapping turned on, you'll get the crosshairs to let you know where the center of the canvas is. And now we can add in our washi tape. So create a brand new layer. I'm going to switch to the second color on the top row. And from my free washi stamp set, I'm going to grab washi long 3. And all I'm going to do is tap on the screen once with my finger, and then I can move it into place and rescale it. And I'm going to rotate it a little bit too. Scale it down so the proportion feels a little more realistic. There we go. So just like that, we've got a little post-it. Now I want to create the illusion that it's lifting up off the screen. So in order to do that, we're going to come back to our post-it paper layer, tap on the layer thumbnail, choose select, create a brand new layer, grab the blue color on the bottom row, so it's the second one, return back to your layers, tap on the new layer's thumbnail, and choose fill layer. Now this creates that exact same shape, only now it's filled with blue and it's on its own layer. We're going to drag this layer underneath the white layer, and this is what's going to become our shadow. Now with the blue layer selected, hit your cursor and choose warp. And down here, all you have to do is grab inside any one of these squares and just pull, and you'll be able to pull this and warp the shadow. So I'm just going to pull a little bit on this side and a little bit on this side, and then I'm going to push up right in the middle. Just like that. And I don't want any of the shadow poking through up here because it's affixed with the tape up here, so I wouldn't have any lifting up. So I'm just going to bring these in so I make sure I don't have any shadow poking up there. Now to make this look a little more realistic as a shadow, we're going to apply a Gaussian blur. So come over here to your magic wand, choose Gaussian blur, layer, and just drag this up a little bit. I'm going to come up to about 3%. And then reduce the opacity just to soften this shadow a little bit. So hit the little N and drag this down to about 50%. And I'm also going to change the blend mode of this to multiply so it blends a little more naturally with the background. Okay, so now we've got our post-it, and the next thing we can do is start adding in all of our foliage. So the first foliage element that I'm going to add in are our main leaves. So I want all of these to exist between the paper and the shadow. So here's my shadow, here's my paper, so everything's going to be between these two layers. I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm going to switch to the third color on the top row. It's a little more of a muted ochre color than our tape, and I'm going to come back to my signature brush for this. I'm going to reduce my brush size down to about 5%. So these leaves are going to be your typical leaf shape, but they're going to be pretty large. So I'm just going to draw them and then fill them in with color. And if you have any areas that don't quite fill, just make sure you fill those in. I just want it to feel like it's naturally coming out from behind here. So I'm not going to go too high, like this is my max height right here. So I'm going to have everything kind of come around that height. Fill these in. Same thing on the other corner. Once you're happy with your large elements, now we're going to add in some details within these leaves, and a really easy way to do that is by using layer masking. And if you've never used layer masking before, I'd encourage you to check out my free Procreate for Beginners course. In the course, we go through 4 different projects, and they advance in complexity as you move throughout the course. You'll learn about layering, blend modes, all the common tools, as well as an entire module on masking. So I'll leave a link on screen and in the video description to that. So if anything is unclear here, check that out and you'll be good to go. In order to apply layer masking, all I'm going to do is tap on the layer thumbnail and choose mask, and then make sure that this color is black. So double tap where the black is, and we're going to hide portions of this artwork. So I'm going to reduce my size. I'm coming down to about 3%, and all I'm going to do is draw a line within the leaves and then put little V's on it. And repeat this for every leaf. Once you have all of your details drawn in, down here you can see this doesn't look super great where the shadow is hitting this color. So in order for that to blend more seamlessly and naturally, it's really easy. All we have to do is change the blend mode of our yellow layer. So make sure that this layer is selected so it's the brighter blue. Tap on the little N and drag this up to multiply, and I'm going to reduce the opacity down to about 75% here. And that feels much more natural. Next, we're going to add in some line art foliage to create a little more variety. So I'm going to grab my darkest blue color. I've still got my signature brush selected. I'm going to increase the size to 4% and create a brand new layer right above the layer we were just working on. And wherever you see some white space or some gaps, that's where we're going to put these in. So we're going to draw a line up, leaf at the top, and then symmetrical pointed leaves coming all the way down. I like starting a little smaller, and as you progress down the stem, make them a little bit bigger. And then repeat the same thing on the other side. The last element I want to add in are just some really simple berries. So I'm going to create a brand new layer right above my line art foliage and grab my pink color. I'm going to change this layer's blend mode to multiply. That way it stands out a little bit stronger. So just drag this up to multiply, and I'm going to increase my brush size to about 6%. And I'm just going to put in some dots in some different areas to plan out where these are going to go. And this brush has a little bit of pressure sensitivity, so if you press really hard, you can get a larger berry, so you can create some variation in berry size just by pressing. All right, now that I have my berry placement, I can go ahead and draw in the stems. So I'm going to reduce my brush size down to 2% and just draw in some stems to connect the berries down to behind the post-it. So what I usually do is I draw a line down. If I'm hitting a large element where it's going to become distracting, I will just come behind that element and then finish it off. Now that the berries are done, let's add in some background texture, and I want the background texture to cover everything except for the white post-it. So I have my white paper and my tape right here. So I'm going to put the texture right above this layer. I'm going to change my color to black, so double tap where black is, and I'm going to switch to one of the default Procreate brushes. So this is in the drawing category and it's called Oberon. You want the size to be up to max. Zoom out a little bit. And all I'm going to do is very, very softly, because this comes out really dense if you just draw regularly. So I want to go really soft, like hardly drawing at all. You're going to get this light texture and just come around your whole artwork. And it's good to have breaks in the color. So you can see I'm not making it all the way dense. And then what you want to do is come to your blend mode, tap on the little N and change this to soft light. And you can see we've got this really pretty texture and it covers everything. And now we're going to highlight whatever our message is right here. So you can put whatever you want here. You can use typeable text. I'm going to add in some hand lettering. So I'm going to create a brand new layer right above my paper layer. I'm going to switch my color to the dark blue. I'm going to go back to my signature brush, and I'm going to turn on my drawing guide. That way I write out in a straight line. And I just leave it as the default, so I have these straight lines to guide me. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you next week.